Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from beautiful Costa Rica. Tonight's topic is going to be when the healing begins. Think about that for a minute. Guys, if you like the content, please subscribe. So when the healing begins, this is in reference to the narcissistic relationship. And perhaps you are out of one, perhaps you've experienced a few of them, perhaps you're in one looking to get out of one or to insulate yourself and to build some boundaries and to move forward. But when the healing begins, this is a very pivotal moment for you. Because let's say, for example, it's when you first understand, you identify that this person is a narcissist in whatever relationship you're in, but you know that something's not quite right and that it's a one-way street, it's not benefiting you, and all this person is doing is taking from you and all you're doing is giving. That's when the first red flag, and you notice it, and you maybe test them and pay attention to see the signs. Your instincts are tingling, your intuition is screaming, and you're ignoring things, but slowly you understand that, wow, something's not right here. It's a good thing. When you identify that this person who turned out to be a narcissist was no good for you, is no good for you, and never will be any good for you, that's when you begin to understand that perhaps you were a people pleaser, or perhaps you had low boundaries or no boundaries at all, or perhaps you were a yes person, just always saying yes and putting other people in front of you. Maybe you were an empath. Maybe you are an empath. Maybe you just, the way you were brought up, the religious background you have, or your beliefs, your core systems from your family, whomever, it taught you to always turn the other cheek or take the high road, meaning giving people free passes. Let's put it that way. And, feeling sorry for people and all that. Well, we don't do that any longer, because what worked, let's say when you were a child, the mentality on this planet called Earth has completely shifted. And we need to shift with the times. And what that means is, if you were taught certain core beliefs when you were younger, I understand their core beliefs, I was taught them too. And my point is, I have changed my approach to insulate myself and have boundaries, whereas no longer can I allow somebody to get into my circle who can hurt me or harm me or destroy me or take away from me. In other words, I'm insulating and have insulated myself from the narcissist in general, all over the place, all over the world. Now, when the healing begins, this begins post-narcissistic relationship many times, and that's what I'm going to dig into now, although I will touch on if you're in the relationship currently. The focus for this video is to let you know that after the relationship has ended in any capacity, you're going to have to really process who that person was and understand that in fact, that they did not benefit you. All they were doing is taking, pushing you to the limits, pushing you to become exhausted, pushing your resources so far that there was no turning back. In other words, your resources, your time, your money, your energy, everything I mentioned on this channel was depleted, and you could not keep giving. And to you, most likely, it was instinctive to give to a fault. But when you encounter a narcissist, let's say it's in the workplace, and they're giving you deadlines that are absolutely unattainable, unreachable, or they're giving you work on the weekends when in fact you're done with work at Friday at 5 o'clock, and you're not supposed to log in or check back in until Monday at 9, hypothetically, but they're texting you or contacting you over the weekend. This is abuse. It is 100% abuse, and it happens in the workplace frequently. Having mentioned that, this is just one avenue that the narcissist bullies people. Remember, the narcissist is nothing but a bully and a coward. And they want to abuse you because they know that you have a high tolerance for taking the abuse, because you don't even know it's abuse at the time, because you don't even know narcissism exists. That's when the narcissist has the advantage. But healing, when does the healing begin? It begins once you identify that this person was a toxic and or is a toxic individual. And that's when you begin to have boundaries and you don't give them your attention. Maybe you go gray rock. Maybe you end the relationship or quit the job altogether. Who knows what you do? The point is you now understand, and you've gotten your first light bulb moment, or maybe you've had many light bulb moments, and you understand that your time is extremely valuable. And there is no job on the planet that is worth your mental or physical health. Because when you are actually in a toxic, I'm focused on the workplace for a moment, when you're in a toxic work environment, let's be real, you're counting the clock every couple minutes. Like when can I get out of here? And that is not a healthy place to be. A healthy place to be in the work environment is to be in a place where you're appreciated, you're respected, and your time, you're not looking at the clock every hour on the hour, or ready to leave at 4:58 when at 5 o'clock you're ready to go home. In other words, Work should be a pleasant experience, not a vacation, but it should be a lighter experience. But the healing begins. When does it begin? It begins when you identify all these things and you have to process that the relationship was a toxic one. You will have to go through many steps. You'll have to understand the terms, the definitions, the glossary of narcissistic abuse words, such as gaslighting, stonewalling, rage fit, flying monkeys, trauma bond, object constancy. The list goes on and on. But when you do this and you process it, that's the first part of recognizing that, yes, you, in fact, you were in a toxic, narcissistic, abusive relationship. It doesn't have to be the workplace. It could be a spouse. It could be a sibling. It could be a neighbor. It could be anybody. But once you identify that, that's when you get these light bulb moments and you get the education. And that's when you begin to first understand the boundaries are necessary. And that's essentially when the healing begins. Because when you begin to put all of your time and energy and effort into yourself instead of into a narcissistic relationship, that's a good thing. And that's when, whether you know it or not, that's when you are beginning to heal. And the reason you're healing is because you're spending all of your energy and effort into yourself, into something productive, into something that will blossom, into something that will grow, which is you. When you're in a toxic narcissistic relationship, you don't know if you're coming or going. You don't know what's going to happen when the front door opens. You don't know if today there'll be a rage fit, or you'll be given the silent treatment, or invalidated, or told that you'll never amount to anything, or told that other people say that you're no good. All these things I'm mentioning, by the way, that was a little hint to, you understand what I'm saying, like triangulation, things like that. These are all terms that you should be looking up. If you don't know them, you really need to become educated on them. Having said that, healing begins when you understand that you are the priority, that you come first, second, and third, and no longer should you or do you put anybody in front of yourself. I mention this frequently on the channel with the example of you're in an airplane, you're flying, and you get turbulence, and the oxygen mask drops down. And you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can assist the person next to you. It's just the way it works. That's what you have to do. That's exactly what you're instructed to do, and that's what you should do, because you can't help others if you can't help yourself. That's why on the channel also I mention frequently, make sure you have your cup full, and if you can contribute back to society and or those loved ones around you, that's when you do it. You don't contribute when you are not physically, financially, mentally, or spiritually able to do it. You don't do it just because someone asks you. That's the old version of you. The new version of you, the healing version of you, or healed version of you, you contribute when it's appropriate, when you can, when it feels genuine, when it's reciprocal, when you want to, but most importantly, when you have healed. So many times people in general, not just with narcissistic abuse, but people in general, they spread themselves too thin. They take on too much, whether it's in the workplace, the family environment, friendships, whatever. But what they find, what they do, and perhaps this was you or is you, but you don't want to let people down. So you spread yourself so thin and you just don't say no to anything. You run around picking up these people, dropping these people off, attending that party when you don't want to go, buying gifts for someone you don't even really care about, things like this. But when you do that, you're not putting yourself first. What you're doing is you're pleasing other people, and you're putting them in front of you. Now fast forward to the narcissistic relationship, all you did was walk around on eggshells. All you did was please the narcissist. And let's be real, there was a moving goalpost there. Excuse me, you could never actually please the narcissist, because what you did today, it will be forgotten tomorrow, and tomorrow you'll have a new task and or a new responsibility that you're supposed to perform for the narcissist. And that always gets higher and higher and higher. And you never get a reprieve. You never get a moment of, wow, thank you very much. That was incredible. I appreciate your time. Thank you. No, you get that you're expected to be doing these things for the narcissist. So when the healing begins, it's when you understand that the narcissist is just in the rearview mirror. They don't matter to you at all, because you now understand who they are. You've built boundaries and or are building boundaries, and you understand that you are the priority and that you need to put all of your energy into yourself. This is exactly the path. Now, remember, it takes time, a lot of time, but in your time, you will heal. You will understand that the narcissistic relationship, it was not your fault. You were manipulated. You were taken advantage of. You were absolutely prey, and you were dominated, and you lost your sense of self. You lost your sense of identity. You lost all your confidence and your beliefs, your core values, because you were subservient to the narcissist, which is exactly where they wanted you. They wanted you in the fog. They wanted to groom you, to crush you, to have you be the pool boy, errand boy, vacation person, the person that pays the bills, who does everything. That's what they wanted to do, wanted you to do. And you did it for a period of time, which was the length of the narcissistic relationship. Now that you're out, now that you've processed things, now that you've understood exactly that narcissism does exist on this planet, and you have healed and or are on the healing path, that's when things get better for you. But the healing path, when does it begin? When does the healing begin? It begins when you finally practice radical acceptance and understand, yes, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be on this planet. Maybe you don't want to be there. Maybe right now as you're watching this video, and again, thank you very much for being here, maybe you're not in the best spot. I get it. I understand completely. However, you are exactly where you're meant to be. And I'm not trying to trigger you. I'm letting you know, as I mentioned on the channel frequently, if you were meant to be somewhere else, you would be somewhere else. Think about that for a minute. The fact that you're on the channel with me here right now, and you and I are like this, I'm watching you, you're watching me. That's a beautiful thing. This means you're becoming educated and you are on the healing path, or you have healed. That's exactly where you need to be. So remember this. When the healing path begins, it's when you actually put your foot down and you understand, I'm not going to take this any longer. I need to actually work on myself. And perhaps you did have old childhood wounds that you had to heal. Perhaps you did have some trauma when you were a teenager, or yet the things that you never really fully processed. You need to do these things. You need to actually do them. These are the focal points of your life. Because I am certain if you're on the channel and if you've made it this far in the video, that throughout most of your life, you've contributed to other people's success and or happiness, when in fact, perhaps yours took a back seat. No longer do we do that. What we do is we most likely, I know I have, but most likely you are shrinking your circle of trusted loved ones or of people that you believe in, and that's a good thing, because your inner circle, it shouldn't be anyone that asks you to do anything. It should be the people that are reciprocal and that love you and that want you to succeed and do well. When you understand that, then you put all of your love and time and energy into yourself. That's when you change. That's when you begin healing. And that's when you understand, okay, the narcissistic relationship, it's over with, it's done, it's been done. Maybe it's been done for 10, 20, 30 years. Who knows? Maybe it just ended yesterday. But you need to process everything. And when the healing begins, it's officially when you are ready. It's when you're ready to take that first step into the unknown and into the new version of you, which will become so much better than any past version of you. You have no idea. It will, once you do the work and once you begin on the healing path. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from beautiful Costa Rica. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great evening. Stay true, stay blessed. Continue to be on the healing path. Continue to become awakened and aware, and understand you are the priority. You are loved. You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are not alone no matter where you are on this planet. God bless you. Stay true. Continue to become focused on yourself, the betterment of your stability, meaning financial, mental, physical, intellectual, spiritual, every way possible. Put yourself back together if you haven't already. And remember, if there's something you are thinking about doing, a positive thing, by the way, meaning maybe taking a step into the unknown, starting a website, taking a class, teaching a class, reading a book, writing a book, do it now. Begin now. If not now, when? Take action. Take action that betters yourself and the loved ones and trusted ones around you. God bless you. I love you. Have a great evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Good night.